Welcome to the Home Team Podcast. I'm Carl Falconer.
And I'm Danny Arroyo.
And we're tackling homelessness. Today in our podcast, we'll discuss two of our passions, football and ending homelessness. Please join us through 4 quarters with our topic this week being, what is the point-in-time count, or the pit count, as we call it in the industry. How was your weekend, Danny?
It was okay. Went to Disney Springs.
Oh,
just
nice.
to get out of the house.
Okay.
And then just had some car issues with my daughter, so trying to fix that all weekend. Yeah. So it was a busy weekend, just trying to get things together for her.
Did you eat some good food at Disney Springs?
We had we ate at Splitsville. We like Splitsville.
Oh, Splitsville.
Yeah,
really?
We always like having appetizers there.
Yeah,
we like having appetizers and stuff. It was so packed that everything was just the wait times were
I bet.
ridiculous. So Splitsville was quick and
it's
good fast food stuff, I guess. So yeah.
Right.
How's yours?
Absolutely. It was good. Let me see. Pretty much just chilled for most of the weekend, I guess. Really relaxed. Did some work around the house, and it was about it. So yeah,
good.
Yeah,
Very
good weekend. Absolutely. Good. All right. Well, as usual, we will start it with the coin toss. So, Danny, go ahead and call it in the air.
We'll do heads.
It is heads,
All
so
right.
you get to start us off.
Perfect. All right. So, welcome to our first quarter. I'm going to kick off by defining our topic of the week, and then we will cover some news headlines and announce the results from last week's home team locks of the week. So as Carl said earlier, our topic this week is what is the point-in-time count? So a homeless point-in-time count is a systematic effort to count the number of people experiencing homelessness at a single specific moment, usually during one designated night. It includes individuals who are unsheltered, living on the street, in vehicles, or places not meant for habitation, and those who are sheltered, staying in emergency shelters or transitional housing. The count provides a snapshot of homelessness on that exact date, not an estimate over time. Government and service organizations use pit counts to assess the scale of homelessness, plan services, allocate funding, and track changes when the count is repeated annually.
Yeah, this is good. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people are unfamiliar still with the point-in-time count or the pit count. So this is a HUD-designated item or task, I guess, that they ask us to do every other year, actually. It's mandated that we have to count every other year for HUD's requirements. Mm-hmm. But generally, in most places that I've been, they try to do it every year so that they can get that trending data and have that available. Mm-hmm. And it's not just a count, even though, it's called a point-in-time count. There's really surveys that go on, and it's trying to gather that information from people out on the streets or people that are homeless to try to find out kind of what their needs are. Mm-hmm. So,
and it's a voluntary thing for people that are out there on the street, but it's a good way for not only to interact with them, but get more information out of them. Probably give them some information they don't have, and just help them along the way. But I've been doing it for. I know you've been doing it longer than I have, but I've been doing it for about 8 years. I started at the shelter doing it there, counting the people in the shelter, but also the meals that we were serving at night. So it was a lot of people at that time. But no, now they do it more than one day. In the beginning, it was when I started doing it was just one night. Now it's I think 2 days, right?
Three
days
this year. Yeah.
So you actually get a better count because you might miss some people on that one night.
That's right.
And usually when we go out there, like last year, we went out a lot, and they were like, "Nope, we already been surveyed. We already spoke to that person." Right. So, but I think it's a good way to count or get some more data of those that are out on the streets.
And that's the idea: is to get the data, to get some trending information. And to really give people an opportunity to give us feedback. Yeah. This is kind of our customer satisfaction survey.
Pretty much,
in some ways from year to year. And we'll talk a little bit more in depth about it with offense, defense, but we just want you to but the main thing right now is we want you to understand that the point-in-time count is happening at the end of January. It always happens at the end of January per HUD guidelines. And so it is happening in all of your areas, no matter where you're listening from. It's happening in your area. please reach out to your continuums of care in your area and find out how you can volunteer to be part of the point-in-time count, because they're always looking for volunteers. And so make sure that you reach out to them or go to their website and make sure that you find out how to volunteer.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it good doing this. They make it easy for you.
Yeah.
So as you volunteer, you
absolutely.
pick where you want to go. That way you don't
That's
have to
right.
drive. You live in Seminole, you don't want to drive to Orange County, or
Yeah.
they make it easy for you to get to that location.
Yeah,
you wanna go to.
and you might only have to do a 4-hour shift or
Correct.
something
Yep.
like that one day. You don't have to be there the whole time,
Right.
all of that stuff. And there are team leads that are involved in this.
That
So,
help you, yep.
a lot of our staff here at Pathlight Home will be team leads, and we'll take teams out. So you don't even have to worry about how to do it. There's training involved, and they'll set everything up for you. So it's really, really simple. Basically, you just have to show up.
That's it.
And be, open to the experience of going out and talking with people and gathering some information.
Definitely.
So anyway, all right. Now let's take a look at some of the headlines from our homeless world. So this headline takes us to Tampa, Florida. James Fishback is a 30-year-old long shot Republican candidate running for governor. I did not write long shot, by the way. That was part of the article.
That was part of-
yep. He is known for taking hard stances on several issues, including immigration and homelessness. And these are his words: on day one, if you elect me your governor, I will deploy the Florida National Guard to our major cities to clean up our downtowns to secure our streets, Fishback said. The candidate released a message on social media about battling concerns over camping and sleeping in public areas. He's aiming to go a step further on enforcing a 2024 state law that bans sleeping and camping in parks and on sidewalks. The homeless situation in Jacksonville, Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and Orlando is out of control, Fishback said. Thomas Brown is the founder of a nonprofit, Tampa Homeless Outreach, mainly helping veterans. He says, I go out 7 days a week. I go into woods, under overpasses, in the back of alleys, bars, wherever I must go to try and find them, Brown said. Brown knows this issue is complex, but he wants the focus to be on increasing investment in shelter options. These people just fell on hard times, and they just need help, Brown said. Brown does not agree with Fishback, calling for the state to reopen controversial psychiatric facilities to treat chronically ill, homeless people with mental health illnesses. They deserve more care. I'd buy a hotel and man it with veterans, and the staff would be veterans, and we will take care of this problem, Brown said. So obviously you have two different viewpoints there in the headlines. And again, this goes back to kind of some of the things that we've been talking about before this, which is, just that whole idea of the encampments and what to do with it and things like that. I note that Fishback only points out the large cities in Florida. Like there isn't homelessness in rural counties. There's definitely homelessness in rural counties, but I notice he only points out the major cities and things like that.
Yeah, I think he's just he doesn't understand.
Again, it's a political topic,
like we say
right?
every time.
And
exactly.
He's trying to win points politically by saying he's going to do this, saying he's going to do that.
Yeah.
And the other part is he mentions all these big cities, but I doubt he lives in all of these big cities. So.
Yeah.
I'm sure he doesn't even have an idea of what's going on in half of these cities.
No. And again, he wants to clean it up, and he just wants to do it outside, out of mind kind of concept,
Right,
and not
exactly.
and not address what's going on. So
Exactly. As opposed to Brown, who's out there on the streets, who's talking with people, and who knows exactly what will work and what won't.
I love his idea about getting a hotel and having it manned by veterans and just
Absolutely.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
fantastic, yeah.
It's getting people off of the street and trying to provide services. All right, Danny. So let's see how our Cowboys and our Bears did this week.
We could bypass this.
No. We're staying on this one. This one's good for sure.
Of course.
All right, we'll start with you and your Cowboys.
Yeah, so we had our last game of the season. Didn't really matter.
That's right.
But unfortunately, we played the Giants, which I thought was going to be an easy win for us, and we did not win that game. We won 30. We lost 34-17. I told my wife, this is so bad we're not even on TV.
I know.
So
well, halfway through the game, they took out Dak and everything.
Yeah,
And so, I mean,
we just had a bad season. It's just let's just see what happens next year.
Just trying to get through it.
Just trying to get through it, pretty much. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Well, on the other side, my Bears played the Lions. Unfortunately, we lost 19-16. We did like we almost have done the entire season. As we got behind, we came back. We got close. At the end, though, they were able to pull it off with just a field goal at the end of it to win it. It really didn't mean that much to us. We kind of had an eye on the Philadelphia game, and Philadelphia lost anyway. And with them losing, we secured the number 2 seed in the playoffs for the NFC.
Pretty
Did
good.
you hear that, Danny?
It's pretty good.
The Bears are in the playoffs.
I heard about it.
I didn't know you.
I heard.
Anyway, so next week's opponent, Danny, who's y'all's opponent next week?
So we will be probably, I don't know, playing the cheerleaders or something. I have no idea. Or maybe a high school team.
Oh, that's right. You're not in the playoffs.
Yeah, maybe a high
this
school
year.
team.
Okay,
I don't
there you
know.
go. Okay,
and we'll
fair
probably
enough.
lose that as well.
Well,
So
maybe so.
but no, our season's over, so there is no next week.
No next week's opponent.
No.
Oh man, I noticed there was a big hole.
There's a hole
here
in
our run.
Yeah.
Down here. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so you have the Packers.
We have the Packers next week. They're coming to us again.
Wow.
So this will be the third time this year. We've each won one game. They won theirs at home. We won ours at home.
Yep.
So hopefully we'll be able to do something.
You got
with
the home field
Packers.
advantage, which is always a good thing.
We do have the home field advantage. I hope maybe we can start a little better this week rather than getting behind by a whole bunch of points.
Did
and
the
trying to
Packers
come
win
back.
this week?
The Packers.
I don't remember. They won or not?
No, they played the Vikings, and the Vikings beat them.
They beat them, okay.
In Minnesota.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, but I think they rested pretty much all of their starters because they didn't.
As they
they
should.
were already locked into
Yeah,
their
as they
seed
should.
for the playoffs.
That's
so.
a smart thing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. All right, perfect. So that wraps up the first quarter. We will be back after this break.
Hello, everyone. I'm Carl Falconer, the president and CEO of Pathlight Home, and I'm often asked by many in the community, what can I do to help end homelessness? I would like to invite you to join Pathlight Home's efforts. Pathlight Home is a 501c3 nonprofit organization in Central Florida. We currently have 560 units of housing that we provide to individuals experiencing homelessness. But we also provide additional support through employment resource centers and mental health services. We have a drop-in day center where people can come in from the heat, do laundry, get meals, all in preparation to get them into housing eventually and off the streets. Community involvement is key to the success of our efforts, and we love when community members want to get involved with Pathlight Home. There are 3 things we invite you to do to help. Number 1, consider supporting us with funding. No donation is too small, and every dollar has an impact on our community. You can go to pathlighthome.org and click our donate button to contribute anytime. Number 2 is volunteering. We love to have volunteers come in and help us with any of our projects. We have ongoing projects and needs, but are also open to individuals and groups sharing specific talents in ways that build up our residents. Number 3 is take a tour with us. Come here to our facility and see what we do for yourself. It's the best way to get an inside look at what we're doing at Pathlight Home each day. We think it's important to understand the work it takes to fight homelessness and love the opportunity to meet community members who are passionate about the issue. We love our Central Florida community and are grateful every day for the continued support. And again, to get involved, go to pathlighthome.org. Thank you. This is the second quarter. We're getting a little deeper into a homelessness topic with something we call offense versus defense. We will each take turns discussing some opposing viewpoints of our topic this week. The question we ask this week is, should every community do a point-in-time count each year? Please remember that we're trying to show both sides of the issue. These do not necessarily reflect our individual stances on these positions. So, should each community do a point-in-time count each year? I'll take the offense, which will be yes, and I'll give you my viewpoints on why I think every community should. First, trend analysis. I talked about this a little bit in our opening. The annual count provides a standardized baseline to track homelessness trends over time at both local and national levels. Now, again, I want to point out this is just trend analysis. It does not necessarily mean that it's the most accurate count, and we're not trying to say that when I say, the trend analysis, but it is valuable to be able to do it the same way every single year. Performance measurement. Communities use the data to gauge the progress of their specific interventions and identify gaps in the local homelessness assistance system. Again, I think this is a valid point. It does measure some gaps. Community engagement. The process mobilizes volunteers, educates the public on local needs, and provides opportunities to distribute supplies, such as Narcan or vaccines or cold weather gear to unsheltered individuals. Actionable data points. The count captures specific information not always available in the standard Homeless Management Information System, or HMIS. As most of you will recall, that's the data system that we use on a regular basis, most providers use, such as where an individual slept the previous night or their length of residence in a city. So it does capture a couple of different data points that we don't normally capture. All right, Danny.
All right, so I have the defense, which is the no. So first is resource intensive. Conducting the count annually requires substantial staff time and city resources that could otherwise be redirected toward deeper analysis of year-round data or program implementation. Significant undercounting. The PIC count only captures a snapshot of a single night in January, often missing the hidden homeless, such as families living in motels or doubling up with others to escape the cold. Inconsistent methodology. Methods vary widely between communities and years, making it difficult to draw accurate comparisons or identify long-term trends. Program assessment lag. Biennial account every other year may be more effective for assessing program changes that require a phased approach, as annual shifts in data may not reflect long-term effectiveness. Flawed incentives. Because federal funding is sometimes tied to decreasing numbers, communities may have an unintended incentive to under-identify homeless individuals. And last, reliance of anecdotal data. Critics argue that year-round data from providers, HMIS, is more reliable and comprehensive than a one-night count.
All right.
So I think for me, I want to touch a little bit more on mine, what I just said. The one with the undercounting, I think we addressed it last year with HSN about the hidden homeless. We talked a lot about vehicles, people living in vehicles, and trying to locate that. I think you're part of that committee this year.
Absolutely.
To figure out how we can count those that are out, because those are all scattered everywhere.
That's right.
But I think for yours, I think the analysis part is, we have to collect data on all this stuff.
Yeah.
We have to, that's the best way for us to figure out who's out there, what has changed. We saw last year that the elderly increased, the youth increased.
Yeah.
So I think these are all great ways to find new trends that are happening, how the population is changing. Yeah. And then, of course, the performance measurement, we have to do that just to figure out how we're going to fix whatever's going on out there. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Well, I like, on my part, on my side, I like the community engagement. I think that's a really valuable part of the point-of-time count that gets overlooked by a lot of people. When we first started doing point-of-time count way back in the day, we just wanted to go out, and so we only use service providers. And service providers are great, and we went out and we did our count and, all of that. But once we started getting the community involved, that really changed the game, because it really gave people an opportunity who were not providers to go out and see and meet people who they had, stereotypes about, who they believed certain, myths or stories about, and actually talk with people and understand who the people were who were actually out on the streets. So I think that's one of the biggest things, the community
out of yours,
out of ours,
100%.
out of mine, On your side, I think the one of the things that I'd never thought about until you brought it up was the program assessment lag. In other words, doing it every 2 years, because it actually might be more valuable for trend analysis. And I like their point here that sometimes in a year, it takes longer than a year to actually get the data that you need for a program to work. I mean, we do the point-in-time count in January. The HUD-NOFO comes out, sometimes usually in the summer, which is our application for HUD funding. We get awarded the money the next year. Well, we don't have enough time to be able to implement the changes that we wanted to do. Even if we could change it, right away and start pilot programs, let's say in May of the year after the point-in-time count, that's still only about 7 months worth of work. You might not see that in the next year's point-in-time count, but if you waited an extra year, then the trend analysis might get more.
That makes sense.
Might get more valuable to you.
Yeah, because when we do the pig count, it's not like those numbers come out in a month. We have to wait a while for those numbers to come out to even see what the trends are, what's changed. For us to then start addressing what's increased, what decreased, just figuring that out. So,
the significant undercounting, that's something that we're always going to deal with. I mean, the point-in-time count is not, the be-all, end-all in terms of counting. The problem with the significant undercounting is that once the homeless numbers come out, once the point-in-time count numbers come out, everybody gravitates towards it as this is what our homeless numbers are. That's not true. That is absolutely not true.
Right.
It's a snapshot of a single night or a single series of nights in January. And even when we do it over 3 nights, we always go back to one specific night when they were homeless for the point-in-time count. And so that I don't think is really that significant as long as we understand that we're just comparing the point-in-time count this year's to last year's to the years before. We're looking at that trend analysis, and as long as you do it the same way, then you don't have to worry about that undercount. Because if we undercounted last year or we undercount this year, we undercounted last year, we undercounted the year before. It's the same undercount. It doesn't make any difference. I mean, as long as you do it the same way.
Yeah, definitely.
And in terms of the flawed incentives, HUD has really changed that. Although they do give numbers for your point-in-time count, or they do give points on the NOFO, the application for HUD funding, they do give points for your numbers going down. The reality is that it's not enough points to actually make that big of a difference on the application.
On the application, yep.
And what HUD does give more points for now is system performance and how your system is performing and how you're doing. So HUD's moved away from that. I remember back in the day, they used to give almost half of the points just for your point-in-time count. And that was definitely flawed. There's no doubt about that. But nowadays, it's not the case.
What do you think of the last point I gave about the data, the year-round?
Well, I think that's the problem. I think that goes back to the significant undercounting is when you rely on this information at the point in time count as your be all end all for the information.
Exactly.
Then you're doing yourself a disservice. We have the homeless management information system. And like we talked about on our last episode, as long as you've got enough providers in there and you're collecting enough of the data in HMIS, then you should be using that to determine what the changes are in your system overall. But the point-in-time count gives us trend data. And again, I'll go back to what my favorite part of the point-in-time count is the community engagement, is getting people out on the streets, talking with people who are experiencing homelessness, who are not part of our system, who don't know this world, who don't know, who've never met somebody who's experiencing homelessness, and talking to them and having a conversation and understanding that this is a human being out here on the streets trying to survive, trying to get themselves to a better situation in their life. That, to me, is the most valuable part of the point-in-time count.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we've made it to the halfway point, and during halftime, we want to take a moment for fan interaction and highlight an inspired quote related to housing and homelessness.
All right, so the fan interaction, I have this portion. There are no new questions this week, so I thought we would try something a little bit different in this section, Danny. What I'd like to hear from you, and I'll throw in some as well, is some of the best and worst questions that volunteers have had when you've done point-in-time counts, right? And we've done point-in-time counts several times now, so we hear from our volunteers all the time what their questions are when they're coming out. So I want to start with one of the worst questions that I've had. But again, I laugh a little bit, I chuckle a little bit because inside the business, we understand that this is not a reasonable thing to ask. But people coming from the community don't know.
Yep.
And literally, I've had people ask me, should we wake them up when we're doing the point in time count to count and survey?
Yeah.
And my answer to the volunteer is, would you want to be woken up in your house or where you're living in the middle of the night to do some kind of a survey? No, you would not. Don't wake people up in the middle of the night. They're going to have attitudes. They're going to be angry. They're going to be upset. They're going to be confused.
You're going to escalate a situation.
Yeah.
And if there's others around an encampment, let's say, you're not going to get feedback from all these people because they're all going to shut down on
Exactly.
you.
Yeah. So that's one of the questions.
Because again, the survey's done at different times throughout the day. So it's a morning shift, an afternoon, there's an evening shift.
Exactly.
So there's people who are, so the answer is no. Do not wake them up. That's a big no-no.
Exactly.
So if you start that count that way, that's going to be a problem.
Will we still do it if it rains?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. We do not stop.
Does not matter what the weather is. In fact, in some places, what we hope for is actually some bad weather so that we can get other shelters opened. We can get people to come in because it makes it easier to count people if they're coming into the shelter.
Because it will make it harder to capture people outside because they will kind of go and find shelters and find somewhere else to stay and get out of the element. So yes, we do it if it rains.
Even if it rains. And again, that's a tip for volunteers when you're volunteering for the point in time count. Make sure you bring the gear that you need to stay warm, to stay dry, all of those things.
And in cold weather, if it's snowing, it still gets done anyway.
It still gets done anyway. It does not make any difference. You're exactly right. Yeah. Do you ever not find people?
It happens. Yeah. Yes. I went out a couple of times last year and we drove for a while and really didn't see anything. Yeah. We actually saw, me and my director of career services went together at one point and we went to Ocoee, which is on the west side of us, and we found some encampments that were completely empty. Yeah. So we didn't do good that we saw maybe 2 people during that run. And they were really out on the street. It wasn't like on a highway or whatever. But there was some we just couldn't find anything. So
And let me say this. It is valuable to know where people are not as well. So the point in time count just isn't about finding every person out there. Obviously, we're trying to do that. But there are some places where there are not people, and we want to know where those places are as well, particularly for our outreach teams. Because our outreach teams then can know, okay, I don't have to spend an extra hour or 2 hours going to this location or whatever the case is. Or like you said, finding an encampment there where there aren't people. Okay, well, now we know from an outreach team perspective, we can send that outreach team back out to that encampment later and see if they can find people.
Yeah, and on the opposite side is we find a spot that we didn't see last year that now has an encampment.
Absolutely.
Now we can send our outreach team to that location. So it kind of helps us on both sides.
Yeah, and the idea with the point in time count is to try and cover every single geographic area and zone that you possibly can within your continuum of care. Is it okay to take pictures and videos?
So yes and no.
Yes and no. Very good.
Yes
I like that. That's exactly what I would say.
I passed it.
That's
so yes and no.
exactly what
Yes, you can take pictures of your volunteers, your efforts, but not of the people you're surveying.
Right. Unless they say it's okay.
Unless they say it's okay, right. You can
and
always
in a
ask
lot
them.
of circumstances, they will. They'll be okay with it. They'll say, sure, I'll take a picture with you.
But driving up and walking to let's say an encampment again, you can't just start taking pictures without authority. Them giving you the release of
even their stuff, even a tent or something that's out there, ask beforehand. It's just like anything else. Again, think of it as your home, that somebody's coming into your home.
Taking pictures.
If they just came in and just started taking pictures and doing and shooting video, you might be a little upset at that. And so that's the idea, is you need to ask about that ahead of time. Are there other questions or other things that you can think of that have been asked?
Is it safe?
Is it safe? That's a good one.
Is it safe? They ask that a lot.
That's a good one. Absolutely. And I think we've talked about this on a previous episode, but the reality is, yes, it is absolutely safe. There's not only do we do training, but like we said before, we have team leads. And the team leads are all experienced people who either work in this industry and or have already been on a point in time count before. and they will help you go through this process. The other thing is you don't do it by yourself. Nobody goes out by
Never
themselves.
by yourself. Yep.
You're always with somebody. There's always at least 2 people, maybe 3 people that will approach individuals and talk to them about surveying or, getting information from them.
Yeah, as team leads, our job is to, of course, help you to get the surveys done, find people. But if we feel that it's an unsafe environment, we can go.
Exactly.
It's not mandatory to stay there. We
No.
don't have to count it. So if we see if there's some type of escalation, if there's, that's what we're gonna, again, because our staff know what to do, but but a volunteer doesn't.
That's right.
So if they're feeling unsafe, or we can interject and get involved, and then if they don't feel safe, we can just walk away.
Yeah,
that's
just
fine.
walk away.
And
Absolutely.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Hence why we shouldn't wake somebody up.
That's right. Exactly. Yes.
But I think that's a big one they always ask is it safe to do it?
Yeah. I think the other thing that volunteers have asked me in the past is about animals. Is we will run into animals out there, so you have to be careful. And again, it's really important that you make sure that you advertise or that you yell out to people ahead of time before walking up on a group of people or walking up on an encampment or anything like that. And again, team leads are familiar with this. They know that you can't just walk up into a camp because there's going to be a dog or there's going to be an animal of some kind there. Yep. And so you got to be really careful with that.
Yeah, and again, part of the team lead, you do an orientation, you get trained on it for the volunteers and just staff in general. Yep. But then when you come to your assignment, you meet with the team leads. We go over a couple of things with you, kind of explain the process and where we're going and what we're doing. So that way they understand what the next step is.
That's right.
So
that's right.
So we're there to support them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we want them to keep coming back and doing it every year.
Oh, absolutely. We want them to have a great experience.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So especially if they've never done it before.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about
that.
Because
it is different.
It's different. No, it's different.
If you see someone on the side of the road, panhandling or whatever, and then walking into an encampment, it's a whole different thing. It's like
2 different
world.
things.
Yeah,
no doubt about that. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So now it's time to get inspired by our quote of the week. So this is volunteer. The opportunity to meet and engage with my community who are experiencing great hardship was so rewarding. The perseverance, kindness, and ingenuity of the people I met was palpable. It was inspiring to be around people who work so hard to keep going. So this came from a volunteer. I pulled this off of the HSN website.
No, that's great.
And it's just to see what they thought, what they went through, and kind of their experience on it. So I think this is somebody who's probably going to continue to do it.
Oh, no doubt. Absolutely. I think you're exactly right. And I think it's rewarding for the volunteers to be able to do this, for anybody who gets involved in the point in time count. So I'll tell you a little story around this, Danny. It won't go too long. Don't give me that look, Danny. Danny's giving me a look right now, like I tell long stories or something. We know that's not true.
No,
anyway,
of course not.
This one's a quick one. So when I was in Dallas, we did the point in time count, and they have a wonderful process in Dallas. They break up by zones. They get team leads to come out. I mean, it's very similar to what we're doing here in Central Florida. But they have a ton of volunteers, and they have pretty high-level volunteers, too. They have city council people, mayor. They have all kinds of people that come out. Not to say that we don't here in Central Florida as well. But anyway, but then, so we were doing the point-in-time count. We were out there. I think the first year I was there, we might have had, I'll probably get this number wrong, but it was probably somewhere around 500 volunteers. I mean, we had a lot of volunteers. I remember when we started the count, we brought them all into a church, and it filled the entire church up.
Wow, pretty good.
To get them started out on the point-in-time count that night. And then, of course, COVID hit. And you remember COVID,
everything
right? And everything just shut down. We had volunteers calling us. We had city council people calling us, telling us we had to do the point-in-time count. And we were like, no, we cannot do the point-in-time count. This is COVID.
Yeah.
And not only is it dangerous for the volunteers because, getting a large group of people together at that time obviously had its drawback, but it's dangerous for the people out on the streets who you're running into and, you're having contact with. They're vulnerable people, and they don't have as much access to some of the other resources that other people do. But they were calling us, Danny. They were livid that they could not go out and do the point in time count. And I thought to myself, you know what? This really shows the value of getting your community out
Involved.
there to do it. Is even though, they were upset because they couldn't do the count, it was great to see how passionate they were because they had their teams ready. I mean, they were ready to go. They had their teams from last year. They were calling their friends, their family, and getting people together.
That's really good.
And really, getting out there. And I think, again, that's the value of it, because when you have people like that who have gone out and talked with people, they can go out and they can advocate. And when somebody comes up with some BS myth about somebody out there, they can say, that's not true. I went out and I actually talked with somebody. And I talked to them about that myth. And they said, no, the people I met were working. The people that I met were, not lazy. They were getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning trying to go to work. They were looking for jobs. They were doing all these different, they can overcome so many myths by talking with somebody.
I think people who volunteer, who have not done it before, think they're going to go out and get a lot of no's.
Right.
And it's the opposite.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to get a lot of people who are going to tell you a lot more than what's on the questionnaire.
That's exactly right. Yes, they are. They're going to tell you about themselves.
Their whole story, how they got here, what's going on. I mean, they will tell you a lot.
Yeah.
More than, again, what you're asking them to
Absolutely.
to do. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, that concludes our halftime. Please stay with us after this short message.
Hello, I'm Danny Arroyo, Vice President of Programs at Pathlight Home. If you're new to our mission, welcome. We're dedicated to changing the lives of those experiencing homelessness and hardship through housing, support services, and career training. What began as one dream for a compassionate solution to homelessness has become a reality. Since our funding, we've provided housing for more than 8,000 people, offering shelter, opportunity, and hope. This month, as we honor National Homeless Awareness Month, we are also kicking off our end-of-year campaign, a time to come together and give back. Every contribution, whether monetary or in kind, directly supports our residents and the community we serve. No gift is too small to make a difference. As we celebrate our journey from dream to reality, thank you for being part of this mission. Together we can make the dream of ending homelessness a reality in our community. It's now time to kick off the third quarter by highlighting the goodwill and good work in the NFL community and announcing our NFL home team locks of the week. So in December of 2025, Buffalo Bills offensive tackle Dion Dawkins engaged in several charitable activities in Western New York through his foundation, Dion's Dreamers, I like the name, including distributing holiday grocery boxes and hosting a holiday shopping spree for local families. These efforts contributed to him being the Bills' 2025 Walter Payton Man of the Year. In December 2025,
nominee.
He's a nominee. It's not out yet.
Hasn't been announced yet.
No. December 2025 community initiatives. He did holiday grocery box distribution. Dawkins partnered with the Buffalo Bills Foundation, Wegmans, Feed More Western New York, and the Salvation Army to hand out 200 holiday grocery boxes to families in need. The boxes contain food items for a Christmas dinner and holiday cards made by local middle school students.
Cool.
Then he did the Holly Jolly Snowman Shop, teaming up with West Her. His charity hosted a holiday shopping spree event with families, where families could pick out gifts. Children also enjoyed a fun zone with crafts, snacks, and time with the Snowman, Dawkins' nickname. Snowman, pretty cool. Northland Workforce Training Center. Dion's Dreamers sponsored the center's community holiday celebration, an event focused on community empowerment and youth mentorship.
That's great.
Pretty good.
That's fantastic. And just for all of the listeners out there, Danny is not mispronouncing snowman.
No, it's Snowman.
It is snowman.
I don't have a lisp.
It's a combination of showman and snowman.
I don't have a lisp. So,
Snowman.
Snowman. It's the Snowman.
And that's his nickname. He's the snowman.
Yes, sir.
He's a very big dude, and I can see where, he would get that nickname. And
he did a lot for December, for Christmas. Pretty good.
He's fantastic. Obviously, the Buffalo Bills are one of the wonderful teams in the NFL in terms of giving back and really giving back to their community and being part of their community. I watched a little bit of Hard Knocks this year, which was with the Buffalo Bills, and they showed Deion Dawkins, and he's just fantastic. I mean, he's off the field, he's like the softest, kindest, nicest guy in the entire world. Cool. So this makes total sense here.
Very good.
Absolutely.
All right, so now we're doing our locks of the week. So we're predicting the home team to win each week. So last week, Carl, you had Seattle versus San Francisco.
And they did. No, I had San Francisco, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry. You had San Francisco.
They're at home.
Yep.
And they were playing Seattle, and unfortunately, Seattle beat them. I thought San Francisco was going to pull it off. It was a really tight game, a lot of defense in that game, but San Francisco couldn't do it at home, and that was for the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get it done.
Yep.
And Danny, you had
Miami versus New England.
Yep.
And New England won that game.
Yeah,
so
they did.
They did great.
Good
Carl,
for you.
So your record is
6-11. Making me say.
Of course, I have to say it one more time. I don't think the audience heard you. And then I am 9-8.
Yeah, look at that. 3-game lead on me, Danny.
So apparently we're still going to keep doing this.
Yes, we
But
are.
if it ended today, just want to point out, 9-8, 6-11. But anyway, we're going to keep it going because of the playoffs.
It's the playoffs, you
so,
know?
So the playoffs call decided to add 2 points now per win.
Each win. Hey, the playoffs is more important, isn't it?
Of course.
I mean, it's always more
Pretty
important.
sure if this record was backwards, it would still be a point. But hey, I digress. So your team. So your picks next week are?
My pick is Philly. They're playing at home versus San Francisco.
That'll be a great game.
So that should be a really, really good game, and I'm looking forward to watching that game.
Yeah,
that one should be really good.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so I have the Chargers against the Patriots. I'm gonna stick with my Patriots again this week. I am.
Again. You didn't take them to win the Super Bowl now, Danny. So at some
point,
point,
I'm not gonna pick Philly because you picked Philly.
I know. I picked Philly. So you know.
Yeah, both of your teams are good for the Super Bowl that you picked. They're in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, both are in the playoffs.
Yeah,
your Ravens got eliminated though, didn't they?
Field goal.
The field goal. They missed the field goal at the end.
Field goal. That poor kicker's face. His face.
Oh man.
He looked like I'm gonna get beat up in the locker room today.
Gosh, it was
So my whole Super Bowl prediction is gone. So, but those are our teams for next week. So playoffs are gonna be good. They're gonna be good games.
All right, great. Well, stay tuned for our wrap up after this message.
Hello, I'm Gigi Ramirez, the Senior Director of Fundraising and Engagement here at Pathlight Home. For over 30 years, we've helped more than 8,000 people transition from homelessness to hope. But when someone moves from the streets to their own home, they often have nothing. That's why we provide immediate essentials, everything from bedding and food to soap and cookware, to help them truly feel at home. Beyond housing, Pathlight offers career training and supportive services, like our 12-week culinary program, helping residents gain skills, find jobs, and rebuild independence. You can be part of the story. Volunteer your time, donate essential goods, or become a monthly Pathlight hero, ensuring every neighbor has a chance to thrive. Visit pathlighthome.org to donate today.
Welcome to the fourth quarter, where we will wind down this episode by reflecting on a homelessness MVP and fumble of the week before wrapping up with our key takeaway.
All right. Well, let's start with our MVP of the week. This MVP takes us to Bithlo, Florida. How about that? Just east of us here, east of Orlando.
We know Bithlo pretty well.
There you go. With temperatures dipping into the 30s overnight and no shelter for the hundreds who sleep in the woods of East Orange County, that's outside of Orlando, a nonprofit opened an overnight shelter on last Tuesday and Wednesday near Bithlo to help keep people warm. Amid hopes it can provide many more nights of support to come. Eventually, United Global Outreach CEO Tim McKinney, we know Tim very well, great guy.
We partner with him a lot.
Does great work, absolutely.
Yeah.
He said he planned for the 2-acre property on East Colonial Drive to be a permanent homeless shelter, a move that would make it the only general shelter in the county outside of downtown Orlando. He said both short-term and long-term options are necessary, citing the lack of any county-run warming center on the east side. We must provide an option for people overnight, McKinney said. I don't think any person who lives in East Orange County thinks it's okay for a person to sleep outside when it's 35 degrees. It's too soon to say whether McKinney can realize this dream of a permanent shelter. The property's zoning hinges on a lawsuit between the county and state involving Orange's rural growth control rules. While such facilities also tend to draw neighborhood opposition, a key reason there are so few shelters in the area now, he suspects this site might be different in a more sparsely populated area. The group opened its doors to a former church it leases, as well as a few adjacent motel rooms on the property, for people to come out of the woods and into the warmth. McKinney said he suspected that he'd have between 30 and 50 people each night. His outreach staff was fanning out into known encampments in wooded areas across Bithlo and East Orange to let people know about the available space.
So Bithlo is that perfect space that we said about being rural and
That's
hardly
right.
anything out there. He's so far out.
Absolutely.
And we visited out there to meet
That's
with him.
absolutely right.
And he's so far out that it's like they forget that he's there.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
But he has a lot of homeless people out there.
He does.
And he provides a lot of services considering where he's at.
He absolutely does.
And Tim
He does
definitely
a
thinks
great
outside
job.
of the box. And
He does.
He does. And he just,
And so this is not a surprise to Danny and I
Nope.
that he opened up, space for warm night shelter or
Right.
cold night shelter. Mm-hmm. And so but it is something that's needed. And again, it goes back to that point of we've got to think about all of the areas. We're talking about the pig count now.
Yep.
He's going to count probably 100 people out there in East Orange County, which means we need to have services available. And he can use that data from the point in time count to be able to justify why
Exactly.
he can have a shelter, why he needs more services there, why he needs, service X, Y, or Z. And so those are some of the values of the point in time count, is being able to get into areas where we might not think that we need services, or we might not think there are people out there.
and everything's very far out there to get to any type
Absolutely.
of service. The fact that he's bringing all the services to him is fantastic.
Absolutely.
But we need more partners and more
Yeah.
community members out there to help him because he can't do it alone.
That's
of course.
absolutely right.
So,
That's absolutely right. Yeah, that's a great story.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
great. Go, Tim. All right, now to our fumble of the week. So this is from Hartford, Connecticut. Several unhoused people were left scrambling to find shelter in Hartford this week after the city cleared a homeless encampment, a move that sparked tension over suburban and urban responsibilities. The city said they posted signs around Hartford's Pope Park last week, warning homeless people in the area to gather their belongings and move before the backhoe moved in. On Monday, a Department of Public Works backhoe was used to clear the encampment, sending a handful of people to look for shelter, according to officials. We have no place to go. My wife and we've been separated from our children already. The stress of not knowing is really tough, said an unhoused Hartford resident whose tent was cleared by the city. Where do we go? All of our stuff is in that tent. What little stuff we have left. Another couple had left and came back, and all the stuff was gone. Every blanket, piece of food, all of it gone. Jeffrey, along with his wife, who were both staying in the tent at Pope Park, said that he pleaded with city officials to let them stay while they are actively searching for a long-term drug rehabilitation center. When the cold weather shelters first open, the outreach program here is great. The city will drive you to a shelter, he said, but they won't allow my wife and I to be next to each other. They separate the men and the women. That may not seem like a big deal, but the separation anxiety is astronomical. We do everything together and we don't want to be separated. Now, a lawmaker is demanding answers on why the city would forcibly remove homeless people during frigid cold temperatures and a few days before the Christmas holiday. State Senator Saad Anwar, co-chair of the Public Health Committee, said that homelessness is a collective failure, and he is urging officials to step up and address the homeless crisis in his Facebook post. Today, the city of Hartford, presumably under the direction of the mayor, took what little people had left: their tent, their belongings, their only sense of space, dignity, and safety. They were left with nothing, the state senator posted on Facebook. So it's another one of those clearing of encampments during cold weather. It's about the third one we've read in the last couple of weeks.
Exactly.
And it's just, I don't get it.
It doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't bring any solution. And again, going back to our point in time count discussion, this makes it so much harder to count and find people. When we're moving people around from place to place and we're destroying their property and destroying their locations, it makes it so much harder for us. You know, we talked about the fact that the point in time count is an undercount. Well, part of the reason that it's an undercount is because people keep moving around. We talked about this the other day, you and I, when we were having a discussion about our outreach team. And, you know, we have some housing available here through our Three Bridges program where our outreach team will go out and find people. But between the times when we actually have beds available, they have to put people on a wait list, basically. And sometimes when they go back out there, they can't find them. Why? Because they've been moved down the street. They've been moved around. Their encampment has been torn down. All those kinds of things. It did not solve the problem. You know, we're all we need is a little bit of time to help people.
And that's the worst thing, is to have an apartment, a unit available for someone, and they're waiting to move for someone to move, and then you can't find them.
And then you can't find them, and
now they start from square one, because now you have to give it to someone else.
That's exactly right.
And now this person has to start.
And they
got to
start. And you got to go to the back of the line, basically.
They start losing faith in the system if it happens.
Exactly, and that's why. That's why a lot of people out on the streets are frustrated and angry and things like that. It's because the system is not working for them. It's not helping them. And by moving people around and destroying their property, you know, things as small as ID or birth certificates or things like this, those take a long time to get those things back for people, and they need them to be able to move into housing.
Or get a job.
That's exactly right, yes.
And just with this gentleman, what he said about, you know, they want to separate me and my wife. It may be small, but it's not to them. That's all they have is each other.
Absolutely.
And now you're separating them. It's just going to create more stress or anxiety, as they say.
Exactly.
For each of them. It's just, and that's the same thing with pets. We talked about pets and
That's
separating
right.
pets with the
That's
owner.
exactly right.
So,
not a lot of options available there.
It's just during cold weather, like I just don't comprehend it.
Yeah, it's frustrating sometimes. All right, and finally, here's our key takeaway for this episode. The point-in-time count may seem like it's just another HUD-mandated task to do, but most importantly, it's an opportunity for the community to let people who are experiencing homelessness know that they are seen, they're cared for, and recognized as needing our support. I think that's the big thing about the point-in-time count, is when we're out there talking to people, one of the things that we do is we explain to them that this is trying to bring more services and help understand what services people need. And I think that's a key part of the point-in-time count. It's not just about us getting numbers. It's about the people on the street understanding that we see you. We care about you. And we're trying to get services to you. We need your information.
So
we need your voice
Right.
in our decision-making process, and that's kind of what this is about. Again, that customer service satisfaction survey,
Right.
You know, kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so that concludes our episode for the week. Remember, if you have any questions or comments, or if you have any questions about the PIC count or how to contact Continuum of Care, or if you need information from us, we can give all that to you. But please email us at questions@pathlighthome.org. As always, we leave the last words for our beloved co-founder, the late Reverend Fred Maxwell. Take it away.
I'm still dreaming. That we will become able and sufficient to increase the housing of homeless. This is merely a beginning.